ক্লাস 10 এর অলরেডি একটা টেক্সট স্টার্ট করেছিলাম অনলাইনে, সেটা হচ্ছে our runaway kite, and the first two units were already completed, and the third unit will be done today. In the first two units, we have learned how the narrator, along with her father and brother, they used to live in the Big Half Moon Island, and they had spent their time in their own way, and they used to enjoy themselves. There were no one else except the three, father, a narrator, and a brother. And one day, when they came back on the mainland during winter, they learned the how to make kites, and returning back to the island, they just made many kites. One was a big kite, and one day there was a grand wind, and it was the perfect time for kite flying. But an accident happened. Accidentally, the kite, there was a hole made in the kite, and the hole was repaired. It was repaired with a later that was lying on the lying in the in that particular place. And with that later, they patched the kite, and they just started flying it. And since the wind was quite strong, and the it was torn apart, the thread, the cord, just torn apart, and the kite flew away to the mainland. So up to this, we learned in the second unit, and we'll further learn how in the third unit. The title is Runaway Kite, and the theme of the text is that how long lost family, how the relatives who are lost, they become united again. So that will be told in the third unit. In 3, a month later, a letter came for father. After he finished reading it, his eyes looked as if he had been crying. So 1 month is elapsed. So a letter came for father, and he read it. After reading this, he looked as if he is crying, as if his eyes seem to be quite wet, and because he seemed to be crying. Do you want to know what became of your kite? He said. Father asked us if we wanted to know what became of our kite. The kite has flown away to the main part because the cord has torn apart. So what happened to the kite? Do you want to know that? Father asked. Then he sat down beside us and told us the whole story. And father told the entire story. What happened to the kite? Father had a brother and a sister. He had quarreled with his brother and left home. Father had relatives. So the narrator had relatives. I had a brother, means uncle, an aunt, sister. Father's sister was, of course, the narrator's aunt. He had quarreled with his brother and left home. Some quarrel happened between two brothers, and he left home. Years afterward, he felt sorry. When he went back, he found his brother had died, and he couldn't find his sister. So years afterward, he felt repentant, and he went back, and to be reunited with the brother with whom he had quarreled earlier. But he found his brother had died, and he could not trace his sister, could not find his sister. The letter father had just received was from his sister, Aunt Esther. So this letter that sent to father, it came from Aunt Esther, mother of Dick and Mimi. So Aunt Esther had two children, Dick and Mimi. She was a widow who lived hundreds of miles inland. So she had written the letter, giving full details about herself and where she lives, all these things. Aunt Esther, mother of Dick and Mimi, and she was a widow. She was a widow, and who lived hundreds of miles inland. She is living in the mainland. One day, when Dick and Mimi were out in the woods, they discovered the kite on the top of a tree and carried it home. So the kite that the narrator was flying, that kite, just after tearing apart, it just flew away to the mainland, and it was hanging in the tree. And one day, while Dick and Mimi were out in the woods, they were in the jungle, they discovered the kite on the top of a tree. They found the kite hanging on the top of a tree and carried it home. They were young children, they were quite curious about the kite, and they love kite. That's why they brought it down, the kite, and they carried it home. When their mother saw the kite patched with the letter, remember that this letter was found by the narrator on the bookcase. this letter was used to repair the kite. There was a hole in the kite, and this letter was used to repair that kite. So this letter actually it will bring about the family together. When their mother saw the kite patched with the letter, she turned pale. After seeing this kite was patched with the letter, she turned pale. The natural glow of her is lost. It was the very letter she had once written to her brother. This letter was written to her brother one day. See, this letter was addressed to the brother, and with the same letter, the kite was patched. So that's why it means that the kite came from the same place, from the source. The source is the brother. So there from the kite came. Philippa was her mother's name, and Claude was her father's. So you know that the kite was patched with the letter. At the same time, the narrator had written her name over there, Philippa Liti, full name, and also address, Big Hamun Island. And so Philippa was her mother's name. Philippa was the grandmother of the narrator, and Claude was her father's name. Claude was the grandfather's name. She knew who we must be. She must know that she must realize the she had realized the identity of the narrator and her brother. So she sat down and wrote to Big Hamun. Father received her letter. That's why she sat down over there, and she took time and she wrote the letter for the father. And father received this letter. So the father was reading the letter that 1 month after the letter came. So that letter was written by Aunt Esther. Next day, father went and brought Aunt Esther and Dick and Mimi with him. Next day, father went out and he brought with him Aunt Esther, Dick and Mimi. They have been here ever since. Aunt Esther is a dear, and Dick and Mimi are too jolly for words. But the best of it all is that we have relation now. So this is the how the lost families, lost relatives rather, they are brought together. They came close to each other. So in this way. So, but Aunt Esther is very dear. Aunt is quite a dear one, quite jolly, quite cheerful one. And Dick and Mimi, they are too jolly for words. They are quite talkative. Too jolly for words. They love to talk. You know that narrator is also quite happy because she or her brother do not find much scope to talk to, because in the lighthouse there are no other only except except the three: father, narrator, and her brother. Now 3 more people came there, so it became 6 people. So in this way, in the very first unit, it was said that we means in the very first, you know that in the third line it was said that we a father, Claude, I, Aunt Esther, Mimi and Dick. So in this way, the 6 people landed in the Big Hamun Island. It became 6 in this way. Initially only 3 were there, father, narrator and a brother. But since with the help of this kite, that's why the title is given there, our runaway kite. So with the help of this kite, the family became united again, and the relatives initially it was felt as if the narrator didn't have any relatives, but here it is proven that the narrator had also relatives. So that's why it is the last line is said, the best of it all is that we have relations now. So this is that's the exclamatory mark. So we have relations. This is the most cheerful feeling that the narrator, they had relatives, because they wanted more children over there. They would play together. They would enjoy in the Big Hamun Island in a better way if they find more people there. So in this way, more people appeared there, and they would live after this quite happily. Okay. So this is the third unit up to this, and you will study it quite seriously. And if you have any problem, if you feel any kind of difficulty regarding this text, then if there is possibility that the class will start again in the school, then it will be discussed in detail. Okay, thank you.